11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. What a fight! I think Guerrero won it.
Juan, the Hispanic causing panic, Lascano.
What's going on, everybody? We're live this afternoon here in the States. 10 a.m. in the future over there in Australia. All right, right now, so we're live on 2 days at the same time. Who else does that? I mean, that's kind of special. But Susie Ramadan, how are you doing?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
So should I say Susie Q, right? 28-3. 12 wins coming by way of knockouts. She comes from way of Australia, ladies and gentlemen. I do want to ask you about your nickname really quick. Is that related to the song Susie Q?
No, I named Susie Q after Rocky Mountain right hand punch.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Say that. That's there you go. All right.
There's a hostess cake called Susie Q too. Are you familiar with that?
There's a cake shop here that's called Susie Q Cakes, I think. So
it's a little cake. It's two chocolate cakes with cream in the middle, like devil's food cake.
Oh, okay. Must taste good.
Really nice.
Oh wow. Well, we're glad to have you here. Now there's some questions that stand out to me that we just need to ask, right? You're currently showing as inactive on BoxRec. Well, that's BoxRec, but you have not fought since early 2020. What is your status right now as a boxer, and what is the future hold for you? Immediate future.
Well, Melbourne's been pretty hard hit with so many things. I mean, I can't even keep up with what's going on in our country. It started with the fires, then COVID. So I got my fighting just before COVID happened, and we were obviously in lockdown for 2 years. It was really long, and then the floods happening, and also now it's still sort of things are up in the air. You get more cases, a new variant, all sorts of stuff. So I'm still training and hoping to obviously get back in the ring real soon. I was scheduled to fight March 6th, but there's obviously a couple of changes I needed to make in terms of a gym closer to home because unfortunately my dad's got some medical issues, so I can be closer to home and be there for my family as well. So that's what's been happening, and now it's just a matter of rescheduling another date and hopefully get back in there.
Okay, that's understandable. So it's a mix of the COVID, of the pandemic, the lockdown, and the fact that you for good reason, obviously, you have to stay home because of your father. So it's a mix of all that. But you still have plans to continue fighting, correct?
Yeah, I love fighting. It's something I enjoy. So, that's the reason why I fight, because I love to fight. I can't just go out in the street and start a fight. So, best way to do it is in the ring. Yeah, so I'll just keep fighting until there's no love left, I guess.
Well, look, you're a former world champion multiple times. Do you want to, when you look, I know you said you love fighting, but are you at a point right now where you're like, you know what, I need to fight for titles, I need to fight, the best right now, or?
Well, my goal has been to obviously, I was rated in super flyweight division prior to fighting Mariana Jerez, and obviously that was a different weight, and because I took that fight, I obviously lost the ratings in Superfly, and then had the WIBA title fight and won that and got back into the ratings. So I'm back in the ratings, the IBF and WBC for super flyweight. So that was my goal, to get a title in that division, But if anything else comes along that's a good opportunity, I'll definitely take it.
Talk about moving around the weight classes, because you fought as high as 122 pounds, 118. Now you're down to 115. It seems like you're going in reverse. Usually it's the other way around. Talk about that process and how you're able to do that, because you look trim right now, and usually when fighters aren't fighting, they tend to look bigger, and you look like you're fighting right now.
I like to always keep in shape. That's me. I love training. I love the exercise. I love everything about it. And I think for me it was I walk around a bantamweight, so it's not hard to fight at super fly. It's only not much off in difference. So I started off at super bantamweight. I think there was more girls involved back then. Obviously that was a little bit harder for me because I'm only little. And super bantam's a bit bigger, and those girls obviously walk around very big to make that super bantamweight division. And then I fought at bantamweight because there's a really good division then. I mean, quality fighters. There was Alicia Graf. Mariana Jerez was fighting at bantamweight for a while as well. Yasmin Rivers, a lot of top fighters in that division. So, that's where I won the titles, the IBF WBC. So I sort of smashed that out. And so I'm like, well, let me try another division. And, I just want to, get another title at super flyweight. I think it'd be awesome.
Do you think that there's bigger names at 118? Do you think you may go back up to 118, test the waters there to get a title again over there? Because it seems that's where you had your most success.
Yeah, exactly. And, obviously I am stronger at bantamweight because I don't need to lose any weight. But there's some competition out there because it's buzzing. But the quality of the level, I think, is not as high as what it was when I was fighting. I'm just being honest, disrespect to anyone. But you've got, lower level girls fighting at world titles where when I was fighting at Bantam, it was all the top fighters at that level were fighting each other. So you've got other girls who are rated in bantamweight and they're not getting the opportunity, and they're at a higher level. So if the opportunity comes along, I'll definitely jump on board. So
Okay.
I won't say I will fight anyway, but it all depends on what the fight is, if it's for a title or and obviously I do everything with my team. I don't just do things on my own, so we work together.
Okay. So I know you just kind of touched on it, right? But it's kind of our job to bring up the names. So when it comes to the bantamweight division, right? I mean, like Beep said, I mean, and even you said there's buzz, but you don't feel like that there's quality there. And I think you're talking about the boxing skills, how good the girls actually are. You actually tweeted out that you feel women's boxing, and maybe you meant that specific division or women's boxing in general, but that it's going backwards, not forward. It's not progressing, it's degressing, right? Why do you feel that way specifically?
It kind of like women's boxing, especially from when I started, it was dead. Then it went up, down, up, down. It's sort of like a wave. It was doing well, and now it's sort of if you've got fighters who, from what I know anyway, I'm just like, no disrespect to anyone, I think all the girls are great. They all deserve everything. They all put in the hard work and sacrifices, but it's just the way I see things as, we all have our easy fights, and it's just a matter of learning and stuff like that. But for what I've learned and the way I've been schooled is, if I fight, my team wouldn't want me to jump into a world title fight right after it. They'd want me to obviously progress and learn and keep improving and work my way up. But it seems like these days it doesn't matter. It's almost like I mean, what do you tell the younger girls? Like, you only need a couple of fights. You don't need to worry. Just get a promoter and sort of just be popular and get in there and fight for a title. It's just I don't know. It just that doesn't. I don't know. Just I can't work it out, to be honest. I mean, is that going forward? You lose a fight and then you go for a title fight, and you've got these other girls who are winning, and they're not getting that chance.
Yeah.
So I mean. Yeah, it's I'm not sure, because then you got everyone wants these 3-minute rounds, and it's like, how are they going to get 3-minute rounds when you've got these girls who are sort of jump in the queue who aren't even at that high level, and could be a lot more riskier, I feel. So these things aren't going to progress unless you got higher level fighters actually fighting each other and showing that they're capable of it before it can go to 3-minute rounds and all that, because they're already iffy about it going to 3-minute rounds because of that reason of being us being females, and it's risky as it is. So it's just, I feel that I don't see most of the top. I think the novice fighters should be fighting the novices, and the higher levels should be fighting the higher levels and stuff like that. So
when you see these women with 5, 6 fights, 7 fights, getting 2 title shots in such a short period of time, and looking at what you had to do, you like you said, you built yourself up and you paid your dues and you did the work. I'm not saying these women didn't do the work, but to get 2 title shots in such a short period of time, can they really progress? Are they really fighting world champions? Because you see them fighting vacant titles, you see them fighting for another woman who just has about 7 or 8 fights. Is that a real title fight in your opinion? And you kind of resent that a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I mean in terms of the, it's almost like they're just handing out lollipops,
Yeah.
Does it feel like it's a world title? I mean, I'm actually, I feel privileged to have worked my way up, and, for me, I've gained a lot of experience out of that. And when I do fight for the world title, it just feels, amazing to know that all that hard work and to get there. I think the feeling of it is just, amazing. But I don't know how I would feel if I've only had a couple of fights and then sort of win a world title. I think that's sort of just handed over to me sort of thing. I just wouldn't feel confident about that. I mean, each to their own. If you got your foot in the door and you get that shot at a world title, but it just shows, do we have that level of women? I think it's not showing so many women, is it?
So what I want to ask is this, right? Because if we keep it real, the pool talent in terms of size just isn't as big with the women as it is with the men, right?
Yeah.
You look at the men, there's 1,000 fighters in the division. Some women divisions, I look at them and I'm like, whoa, there's only 30 women in the world, like in some the higher ones especially. More women in the lower weight classes for sure, but there's like 100 or so. Like, do you think 4 world titles is just too many for just a small pool of fighters, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think so. I think too many options, maybe. Yeah, but the thing is, that's the thing. That's because it's so much smaller. It's easy to sort of hide the other ones who are at a higher level. But I think there are too many titles, regardless, anyway, for women and men. So yeah, and it almost looks like, well, the level's not good. There's not enough girls, so it's easy to get a title. Well, I've come from when there was hardly any women, and it was harder to get a world title. Because we did things the right way, I guess. We built our, way up. So, so it's a lot easier now. But, I think there's more women now. And it's even I would have loved to have been in this position only because it was well, great, there's so many girls. I could get so much experience and I could get lots more fights. Who doesn't, just take them all one by one like dominoes. That would be amazing, so.
Well, because what's happening right now at bantamweight with 2 of the belts, Shannon Courtney, who was coming off a loss not that long ago, fought the blonde bomber Ebony Bridges, right? Beat her in that fight, but that was for a vacant belt, right? Now, Shannon Courtney lost to Mitchell, so it's in a voluntary, right? And then Maria, she did a voluntary against the blonde bomber, right? These belts are being lost in voluntaries, right? And it's leaving a lot of the women that are ranked higher and have actually earned a spot to get a shot as a mandatory, just being left to the side. So now Shannon Courtney, she's going to get her rematch, okay? And it's going to leave whoever is number one, and we know who that is, right? It's another Shannon, but they're giving the fight to the wrong Shannon, right? And then in the other side, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with Ebony Bridges. I could see Eddie Hearn totally trying to capitalize on her commercial success, right? So I don't think he's going to want to give the golden goose to someone that's going to beat her up, right? He's going to try to keep it alive as long as possible. But I do want to ask you about that fight, though. So what is your honest assessment of Ebony Bridges, okay, and Maria Cecilia Roman? What was your honest assessment of that fight?
Oh, like I said, I get up fairly early every morning, and Sundays are my sleeping, so I didn't get to see the fight. But from what I heard, Roman didn't do anything for the first 6 rounds, which I'm not sure, which I can't understand. A reigning champion would come out and not do anything for the first 6 rounds. But, look, credit to Ebony Bridges. She took advantage of that and she won the fight. So congratulations to Ebony for that. But, yeah, look, Shannon's been rated. Shannon O'Connell has been rated in the WBA and IBF number one for I don't know how long. It's been quite some time, and no disrespect to anyone, of course, but this is not a popularity contest. It's a boxing contest. That's what it's all about. And we've got to, I understand her fans want to see her with whatever it is that she's doing, fighting or whatever. But fans and boxing fans want to see real fights. And this is talking about not just women, men. We want to see real fights. We've got to hear what the fans are saying. The fans are sick of the the scoring cards and all sorts of things, and are we listening to the fans? Are we really focused on what the fans want, or we just sort of just want to accomplish things for ourselves? I mean, at the end of the day, we're boxing. It's an entertainment, so we want to entertain the fans, but we want to do the right thing for the fans as well, so they're happy. So they're happy with what they paid for. They're happy with the scorecards. They're happy with the fight. They're happy with the level of fights as well. So we tend to sometimes drift off a little bit and forget what the fans really want as well. So we're talking about all the fans all together. So so I just hopefully it just keeps improving. I mean, I feel that, Eddie Hearn has said it before. He wants to keep all the belts at home. Just my opinion. I think that Shannon Courtney will fight Jamie Mitchell. And, if Jamie Mitchell doesn't stop her, they'll probably give it to Courtney. So Ebony and Courtney can have that rematch, but it builds it up a lot bigger because it'll be a rematch for 2 belts. But, I hope that Shannon O'Connell can, get her chance and have a crack. And look, there's other girls as well. You've got the WBO champion, WBC champion as well, and hopefully they can get thrown in the mix too. I think it'll be great fights, definitely.
Now, you talked about maybe the fights and the fighters not being as good as you like them to be back in your day. You thought it was more competitive, and you say it may be going down. But one thing that is a positive note is there's a lot of exposure now with the female boxing. We're seeing more and more of it, particularly on the zone. So does that kind of encourage you and inspire you a little bit? And then when we're looking at Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano, they're going to be headlining in the Madison Square Garden. Another bright light being shined on women's boxing. Talk about that. How do you feel about all that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I meant as in, the quality of the level that we were at, we were fighting each other. It's just that obviously now the Bantam, sort of the higher level ones, aren't getting a chance. But yeah, definitely, I'm definitely like a fan of Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. I think it's going to be a great fight. And it's definitely something that we need, 2 high-level fighters fighting each other. So it's definitely a step up for women's boxing, and that's the sort of stuff that we need.
Who do you have in that fight?
Sorry?
Who do you think is going to win, Serrano or Taylor?
They're both sort of, they're both great in different ways. Katie Taylor seems like she's slowing down a little bit, but look, if she's freshened up and she comes in and she uses her speed and her skills, she might have a chance. But Amanda as well is she's strong. She's fought in different weight divisions, and she's skillful as well, and she's got a good boxing IQ. They both have. So it's going to be interesting. I can't choose out of those two. I mean, I
Oh
love.
man,
Wow, you're sitting on the fence.
let's sit on the fence.
Wow, I'm gonna go with Katie Taylor. I like Katie Taylor.
I like her too. Yeah.
It should be a good fight for sure. And that's what makes a fight great. You know what I mean? Plus, a headliner in Madison Square Garden, it is a pretty big deal. So, for sure, you know what I mean. And the pay scale for women is really being brought up by Katie Taylor too. So that's good to see. I'm sure you would have loved one of those paydays. That's just some great paydays. But I want to go back to Ebony Bridges here. You mentioned in a tweet that she would not fight you. Why do you think that is?
I'm just she doesn't want to fight anyone that's from Australia, I think. So I'm not sure why, but I know that she won't fight in Australia, which I can understand. She's fighting over there, which is great, but she still wouldn't want us fighting over there against her. But I don't feel that she has that actual confidence she makes out to be, so she'll avoid Shannon O'Connell, who's number one, and I'm me and Shannon O'Connell are Australia's best, I've proven myself. So I think she's sort of just looking at Shannon Courtney, to be honest. And so she's not looking at anything else.
Something interesting really caught my ear when I heard her at the end of the fight, and she's telling everyone, I told you I can effing fight. Like, almost like she had to prove to everyone that she could fight. And that just speaks to what you said about confidence. If you know you can fight, you don't have to tell everyone, I told you I can effing fight. Because a lot of people look at her because of the things she does. I mean, she is very ostentatious. She likes the attention, and she does things to get that attention. And when people give it to her and they focus on that more so than other things, to me, I think she does it to herself, right? And I'm not here to bash her or anything, but I just find it funny when someone puts themselves out there and then they allow people to see things. Of course, you're going to be criticized for that. So it seems to me when you go on her Instagram and you see the Twitter post, she's showing you more of her physicality than her boxing skills. So that's what she's trying to sell. And I get that. But when people focus on that,
you're not talking about the brawling, right? You're talking about something else.
Well,
so when people focus on that, like what I'm trying to say is, I mean, I think she does it to herself.
Yeah, I mean, insecurity is loud and confidence in silence, really. I mean, you don't see a Ferrari in a commercial sort of, buy me. But look, I don't know. I mean, everyone does things differently, each to their own. And if, that's helping her, build her profile, I think maybe that's more sort of like what she focuses on. She's probably putting too much pressure on herself. I feel that, I can only speak on my behalf. Like, I just want to go in the gym and learn as much as I can. It doesn't matter if I've won about 20 titles, I still want to learn and do better and better. So, and look, at the end of the day, no matter, even if you're perfect, you're going to get your critics. But if you go out there and put things out there, I mean, you've got to expect to sort of, get that bad feedback or whatever it is. And it's not because people are bitter or jealous or whatever, like they accuse people of. It's more so like everyone, you've got to understand everyone's different. Everyone's got different values, morals, and, everyone's different on how they go about things. I feel that every female out there is beautiful, and we've got to understand when you're empowering women, you've also got to understand that all women are different. Different cultures and different religions and all sorts of things. So you've got to understand that. And, long gone are those days of boxing where it was only just the men and a few women and how do I say this, but sort of like, I used to have a bad look, and every time someone would do an article, they'd be like, oh, there's this criminal there and that criminal there, and it's just like another black mark to boxing. But now boxing's changed over time. There's more kids involved. there's a lot more
Yeah.
kids involved, a lot more younger girls, also, and getting into the professional. So, just gotta know how to be able to empower women. I think. No offense, no disrespect at all, but selling dirty socks is not really and bragging about that is not empowering the young youth of girls and on how they should be to sort of promote themselves. It's each to their own on how they want to do things. If that's working for her, kudos to her, that's great.
Right.
But everyone is different. We need to
I
understand.
mean, it's her gimmick, and people let her know it's a gimmick, and it is what it is. So I mean, you do it to yourself, is what I'm trying to say.
Like, I guess in fairness, like, she could fight, right? Or she wouldn't be on TV fighting, right? The
Well,
question.
let me ask you this, though. Let me ask you
Yeah.
this: if
Okay.
it wasn't for her personality and all of the theatrics, which you've gotten 2 title shots, how many women would get 2 title shots with 8 fights? I mean,
Yeah.
you're not going to tell me that she's like the best in that division. I don't think she is, to be
So,
honest.
well, you can't say she's the best in that division because you have, Dina, she's amazing, and the WBC
Yeah.
like the girls that are rated who have, won fights and have done extremely well, who have got a lot more fights on their record as well and fought better opposition. So, I understand that. But yeah, look, I mean, she got her foot in the door, and I guess if that's how it works for
Yeah.
their promotion, I mean, I'm not sure, but yeah, just
And to her credit, she did look better in this
Yeah.
last fight than she did. So we have to give her credit for that.
that's
And she
good.
did put
Yeah.
the work in. Her jab had some snap to it. She wasn't just pushing it out there. She was actually turning her shots over. She was sitting down on shots. So give her credit for all that. Now let's just hope that this is going to be the path now,
Yeah,
Now-
it's always good to improve, definitely.
Sure.
Now, you mentioned Dina from Denmark. I mean, she's really good. Now, somebody in the chat mentioned it. Like, well, would you fight her? Would you get in the ring with her if that opportunity came about?
Dina, well, I actually I was managed with the same manager as Ebony previously, and unfortunately, due to COVID, like, as I said earlier, there was a potential opportunity to fight Dina, and I would have fought her, but obviously with all the lockdowns, you need to get
Sure.
all these exemptions and have that risk of getting stuck in the country and not being able to come back, and the money just wasn't worth it because the quarantine fees were pretty expensive. So so we couldn't get that chance, but it's definitely a good fight. I would take that fight, so it'd be awesome. I mean, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, when do you think, more or less, that you'll get back in the ring?
Well, we just spoke to the promoter last week, so we're just waiting on a date. There's also another promoter who's also interested in putting me on as well. He's looking at June, so I was hoping to get something earlier than that. Hopefully I do, but I think the team wants me to get a warm up in because I've been out for a while. I mean, I'm happy to just jump in and fight anyone, but I can't control what they want and what they do and stuff like that. So, and I can't be too picky at the moment. I just got to get back in there and fight. So hopefully soon.
During the 2 years off, did you have a hard time getting sparring in? Were you able to get quality sparring in?
Well, we were in lockdown, so we couldn't even go to the gym.
But what I'm saying is, like, this last maybe 6 to 8 months, have you been getting any sparring in, or has it still been a challenge?
My whole career, I think it's been hard getting sparring anyway.
Yeah, it's tough
If
sometimes.
you go too hard, it's like, what's this world champ doing? She shouldn't be doing that. And it's like, if you go too easy, it's like, oh, we just had it over, and then it's like you can't win. But it's just, yeah, there wasn't a lot of women. I mean, we do have more in Australia now, and I've always sparred the men, so which was good because I learned a lot more. So, and I'm happy to always spar the guys as well. Sometimes I'll spar a few girls, but majority of the time it's I spar the men.
Gotcha. What did you think of that Will Smith slap on Sunday? What a disgrace that was.
Yeah, It could have been fake though. I don't know.
Oh, you think it was fake?
That's, you see, that's what I was thinking. I thought
He said the same thing.
Kind of conspiracy, isn't it?
I would ban him for
because
life.
why? Someone's walking towards you, right? Why would you put your hands behind your back and lean forward? Who does
Because
that?
he didn't know he was gonna slap him.
That's why he tensed up too, or what?
Yeah, he's almost like, all right, come and get me.
Like, you know, I don't know. I don't know.
Why would Will Smith subject himself to all this negative backlash right now?
Well,
I don't
sometimes
know.
it's you know, bad publicity is good publicity, so
Yeah.
they play along with it too.
But is
Well-
G.I. Jane really?
But
an
why would
insult?
he? Why would he put the story out about him and his wife and their open relationship? Like, what
I mean,
good would that do? Who knows, right?
When you call someone G.I. Jane, that means they're a strong woman. That's a powerful
Yeah.
woman. Would you take offense to that if someone called you G.I. Jane?
I don't really take offense to anything, to be honest.
So G.I. Jane is a female that shaved her head, right? And was it like a Navy SEAL or something like that?
She was a Navy SEAL. She was taking people out.
Right.
Come on.
I don't know what's going on, but apparently they didn't like it. But he went up there, and hopefully that's not a precedent. But it looked fake to you, pretty much. That's the feeling you got.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was fake. I don't know. Haven't been doing too well, so could have been a publicity stunt. No, I'm not sure, but you know.
So what if it wasn't fake? Like let's say it wasn't fake, and he really did go up there and slap Chris Rock. Like what do you think about that? Do you think he's right for doing it? For like, 'cause there's some people saying, hey, he was defending his wife or whatever, and some people are saying, hey, man, freedom of speech. You can't go up there and slap comedians.
Yeah, no, I think there's a way to defend your wife. You know, when you cross the going and abusing someone, there's a difference. So you can always defend your wife in other ways. You know.
And that's another thing too. They're saying, "Oh, he was defending his wife, protecting his wife. Like protecting her from what? It was a soft-hearted joke. Was she in any danger? Was she? I mean, it's just crazy because you see sometimes women, they like to gas up their men. Oh, you're gonna let him talk to me like that? You're gonna let him do that?
Yeah.
You know? And then that's why there's a lot of guys in hospital beds right now because of that.
Yeah, and they fall into that trap, don't they? But yeah, it's just, I mean, I suppose there's a line you just don't cross, and you've just got to know how to respond and how to react. I guess it's all comes down to self-awareness and self-control. So, yeah, when you sort of slip up there, it becomes, yeah, you've crossed the line. It's a little bit abusive, I think.
Crazy.
Like this guy just. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just say Jada looked like E.T. in a parachute with a green dress. It's not like Chris Rock said that. Like he just called her, you know, G.I. Jane. Like, I mean,
No.
you know, I'm just saying.
Jade is a very pretty woman. I mean, we got to get her. We got to give her that. She's very pretty. She's a very pretty woman.
I think he probably got offended because, you know, she's got that hair issue as well. So that's probably sort of what made him feel that way, which I can understand. But
I didn't know she had that, and apparently Chris Rock didn't know she had that either. So
Yeah, but he laughed at the joke at first. That's the weird part. He laughed.
Well, she gassed
and
him
when
up.
he looked at her, he like then he went up.
She
like,
gassed
okay.
him up. She gassed him up.
I'm just saying. Do you think, like, let's say Mike Tyson was up there and he was like, "Hey, Jada, you look like G.I. Jane." Like, does Will Smith go up there and try to slap him?
hell no.
It doesn't happen, right?
It ain't happening.
So, hey, Tim Zhu. Because speaking of Shannon O'Connell, she was out there with Tim Zhu. You know, and he had a great, good performance, in my opinion, against Gachet. He had a moment where he had to overcome adversity. He got knocked down. In my opinion, he stayed calm and he passed with flying colors. Like, you know, but what was your opinion of the fight?
I think that's his best asset, to be honest. He's very composed, and you know, he's willing to take big fights and going out there and proving himself. I mean, he's doing extremely well for our country. Tim Zhu is, you know, extremely talented, and you know, he's not as good as his father yet, but you know, he's doing well, and hopefully
It's a high bar, right? It's a pretty high bar.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know, good on him, and it was awesome to see him in that fight.
Yeah. It was a good performance. I had
Yeah.
him winning. I had him winning every round except for the first.
First, yeah, knocked
Yeah,
down. But he came back up and he done extremely well.
yeah,
So
he did. He did very well. I was
yeah,
impressed with him.
yeah. And I think that's what's harder too. Like when with that happening in a fight, and then you'll be able to just overcome that and just keep winning each round. And that's that just shows a lot, I think, in a fighter. So good on him.
It is fascinating because I see other sons, but they don't look like their dad. But he looks and fights like his dad. I almost feel like I'm watching Kasasu fight. Like you said, he's not as polished yet, but I mean, he's young, so
Exactly.
it's crazy how he fights like his dad.
Yeah, he's got that style, and I mean, obviously, he got taught by his dad at a young age. So, it's great. It's almost like Kasasu is back.
Right.
It's definitely great to see, especially if you live in that name, and it's a lot of pressure as well. So imagine being a son of a great fighter like that. You've really got to prove yourself, and so he's doing that.
Now, your last name Ramadan. Are you from Middle Eastern heritage? Do you have a background? Are you like Armenian or Turkish or something?
I'm actually Australian. I was born and raised in Melbourne, but my parents are. My dad's Albanian and my mum's Turkish. So
Okay.
yeah.
Because that's a Turk. A lot of people from Turkey have that last name Ramadan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm Middle East. I'm half Middle Eastern too. I'm Lebanese, so that's why I ask.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get people tend to think I'm Lebanese. So name, and I don't know if I look Lebanese, but yeah.
Well, you have Lebanese in you too a little bit, or no?
Sorry.
Do you have any Lebanese in you as well too, or you just Turk?
No. Yeah,
just Turkish and Armenian. Yeah.
Turkish.
We're both from Western Asia. It's the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Same
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
Same difference. Yeah.
We'll be the same.
Now, what is like not necessarily like who is like the toughest opponent? And I'm not talking skills. I'm talking like after the fight, you were like, man, that girl's tough. Like what was the toughest opponent you were ever in the ring with?
Well, I've got to admit,
like just sheer toughness.
It's got to be between Alicia Graf and Usanakon Kokujim, if that's how I pronounce. Well, that's because that was a transgender. So,
Wow.
I think Alicia Graf was she was tough, very hungry fighter, and she just kept coming forward, and she was very, very tough, and she was a skillful fighter, had a lot of experience as well. But the transgender, I mean, obviously being a male, this is a bit of a touchy.
I didn't know this. I didn't know that
you fought a transgender fighter.
I didn't know there was a transgender male that had actually fought. I didn't know that.
And they sanctioned it?
Well, yeah, Usanakon fought as a male in the amateurs, which I wasn't aware of at the time.
Oh, so it was in the amateurs. It wasn't pro fight.
And then transitioned into a female in the professional. So that's who I fought for the WBC world title. Obviously there was some testing involved, and the testosterone levels were really high. And I mean.
So how'd you feel about that? Were you for that or against that? What is your stance on that? I mean, it's a tough question to answer because I'm not for it. I'm against that. I don't think if you're biologically a man and you transition, I mean, you could do whatever you want. I'll call you whatever you want me to call you, but I don't want you hitting women.
Especially if you weren't aware. That makes it kind of like, it's kind of like,
wow,
how could you not know?
I would have been upset.
How could they not tell you, in other words?
Look, almost like before I got into boxing, I still before I started fighting, I used to watch a lot of women's boxing, all the Christy Martins, Layla Ali, all the, and a lot of the guys as well. And then when I got in boxing, I didn't watch much women's boxing, and I don't watch a lot of it. I mean, I wish them all the best and have so much respect for them, for it's my sort of way of sort of focusing on me. So I never even watch my opponents. And so that's what my team's for. That's what my coach is for. My coach is not there just to sort of teach me and hold the pads. So that's their job. So when that fight came about, they had some obviously suspicions that it, may have been a transgender, and so I was just too focused on myself and what I had to, do for training, and focused on me, on what I was going to do. So I didn't really look into that much. And just on the day of the fight, I just I got in there, and I felt the difference in power. I can't remember what round it was, the second or third. And, Usain was a southpaw as well, very tall, and hit me with a straight left to the nose. And, I went to the corner. I thought my nose was broken because it was, I just felt the difference in power. And I've got a big nose, so it's it doesn't, any punch doesn't hurt much when I get hit by it on my nose. So that I definitely felt. And, obviously I had to focus on continuing. Now after that, I just thought, look, you know what, just hit and move, and win this fight. So I did, and obviously then it was all over the papers and articles, and front page of the papers and stuff like that.
How did you feel after that? Beating someone that was, I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna probably get in trouble for it. It was biologically born a man, right? You beat up a man.
So, well, added to that question, like I know you said you felt the power, right? Did you feel it was more about physical advantages he had, or was it more about skill that he had, or she?
The physical,
whatever.
Definitely, yeah. And especially, winning the fight, Usain was obviously putting more pressure on me. So coming forward, and I just had to run a little bit more. So, the physical, definitely, but I was too overwhelmed that I won the WBC title, for it to have kicked in, if that makes sense. So I think if I had known and was more aware of all of it, I probably would have stood up about it. But I think, if anything, it's probably a good time to stand up about it now, because it's happening a lot more in a lot of sports, and it could happen a lot more in boxing. I think it may have had in a couple of other female boxing fights. And I think.
What was the name of the fighter again? I'm sorry.
Sorry.
What was the name of the fighter again?
Usain Kokia Jim.
Look at this. 15 wins, 14 by knockout.
Yeah.
That's not surprising.
You could have gotten seriously hurt in that fight. Now, hindsight is 2020. Would you have done it all over again if you knew?
Knowing me, because I love to fight, I would. But I think it'd be a good. I think I've got. I would rather stand up now because
they should give you more money, is what they should have given you.
So I think it's more for standing up for other women, because it's just not right, and it shouldn't happen. Don't just them, each to their own, who they are, what they do. It's it's cool. But there should be a different maybe section for them. Like a different. Sorry, that didn't sound too right, but there should be.
Transgenders can fight transgenders.
Yeah.
Why not?
Because I guess the point is like here's why I believe. It's just my opinion. I'm speaking for myself. Okay. I don't want anybody to get in trouble for what I'm going to say, but it's always the men that make a transition into female that win and break records in the females. You never see a female transferred, or whatever you want to call it, to a man and compete with the males. You just don't see that.
No.
Well, I might as well do it. I've done it.
Well, there you go. So you're 1-0. It's basically a transgendered. That's interesting.
I have added respect for you now, knowing that you beat up a guy, man.
You beat up a guy. Hey, you want to fight Beeb next? We could set up the first.
52, man. Too old.
Hey, so what?
Too old.
We could bring him down to 150. You know what I mean? Just train
There's
him
high schoolers that could take me out at this age.
Yeah. That is this is crazy. Do you know if the fighter went through some, I know they go through some therapy that they do with they remove testosterone, and I don't recall the name.
They do testosterone suppression. They take drugs to suppress their testosterone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know if they did that?
But her Usain testosterone levels were pretty high, so I'm not sure. But I remember going, I think, rolling under a punch, and Santa Con just put her hands, downstairs and was like, it was like, hey, what's going on here?
Testosterone, depending upon when you take it, the doctor has told me this before too. It's just so random. You could be 600 one day and then another day be 300. So even with those suppression drugs, he could have been at starting point. How old was the fighter? Like in his 30s?
I don't remember.
Let's say 30s, right? The
They have female, but they don't have the age on box rec.
Okay.
So
Well, let's just say for all intents and purposes, 30, 32, 33 years old, right? I mean, starting point could have been 700, right? And the suppression could have took him down to maybe 400. That's still not in female range. You know what I mean? So that's what you have to take into consideration. Like those drugs can only do so much. And like I said, it's random. It's so volatile how it goes up and down, up and down, up and down. You know?
Yeah.
Well, look, you yourself have said that you sparred men, right? So some of the men you sparred, if they did a transition, it would probably dominate the women's ranks, wouldn't they?
Oh, definitely.
So like it's one thing. Like if I box Susie, she'll beat me up, right? But a high level fighter, right? That's what we're comparing it to. Well, what happens if they allow it? If a high level male, like it doesn't even have to be a champion, just someone in the top 25 decides to do a transition to the women's ranks, then what do we do? You know that's where the danger is. So we can't be like, only if you're not that good you could go, but like you know what I mean. If they allow it, they kind of have to allow it, right?
I think at any level, whether you're at low level or high level, it's just wrong. It shouldn't happen. You know, it's just too risky, and that's the last thing we need in women's boxing. You know, there's been some girls who have been badly hurt and obviously and passed away from in a boxing fight. So, you know, things like that can be actually very risky, and we don't want that for women's boxing. We want women's boxing to keep growing. So, yeah, I don't think Santa Coin had many fights after that. Probably in her hometown, maybe had a couple more, and is now married to a female. So, you know, Santa Coin's Facebook says male and interested in women, married, and quit boxing after that. So I'm not sure, but
wow,
very, very interesting story.
It's very interesting and a hell of an accomplishment. I mean, this fighter was knocking everybody out until you fought her. So it's something
amazing.
So I just want to, I'm not trying to laugh about it, but you felt the difference. Just the way you said it, like I felt the difference. Yeah. Like how big of a difference? Like, was it like whoa?
It was hard enough. You know, southpaw fighter was always a little bit more awkward, and the height difference. I mean, so much taller than me, and then being a male with having all that power. Yeah, it was. I think mentally it was very hard, and physically. So you know, I sort of had to block all that out. And just focus on what I had to do. And once feeling that power, I was just like, yeah, just be smart and box, hit and move, and don't get hit, because obviously I could have been in trouble. So yeah.
Good for
but
you.
then at the end, the bell went and Santa Con kept going, and so did I. It was even though I was winning the fight, we just sort of got into a bit of a, you know, this is not over. We just want to bash each other, but yeah, I don't know. You just get into that zone of fight mode, and you just want to, you know, fight and win.
I'm just amazed by that. I can't believe I didn't know about this. But you learn something new every day, right? Yeah. So, hey, congratulations! You beat up a dude in the ring. Hey, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, that's something. That's like you only hear about that like in wrestling. Remember when China would beat up dudes and people would be like, "Oh, come on, that wouldn't happen." Oh yeah, it did. You know what I mean? I like, but is the fight on YouTube? I gotta watch the fight. Like,
yeah,
you know,
I think there's some highlights on YouTube. Yeah.
I'm gonna watch that.
I'm gonna watch that too. I'm gonna watch it for sure.
That's amazing.
Wow.
was I think at MMA or UFC there was a fight as well, the same sort of thing, and was actually really bad. Yeah, the female actually got hurt pretty badly. So
Ah, yes.
I think I saw that. It was on HBO Real Sports.
It was a similar situation like that. Transgender was knocking out all these. Eventually, a higher level female beat him, right?
Yeah.
But like again, like should it have gotten to that point, right? I mean,
Look at all the damage that was done prior to him,
Yeah.
right,
to the person
exactly.
losing. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
there you go.
Crazy.
Susie, before we let you go, who is your favorite male and female fighter besides yourself, of course, active today and of all time?
I'm loving Crawford, Terence Crawford. You know, I just love his style. I love Canelo too. I don't know about favorites. There's so many. Like, definitely Crawford is one of my favorites at the moment. You know,
Okay.
and I've got to back Tim Tszyu. He's from Australia as well. So, there's some great fighters out there. Females, I love Dina. I think she's awesome. Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano.
Yeah.
It's just there's some great fighters out there for sure.
And Shannon O'Connell, right? Shannon O'Connell as well.
Yeah, definitely Shannon O'Connell. I just love to see her get her shot. You know, because I know she's been chasing it for a long time, and she's been there rated for a long time, and she's tough, and she's put the hard yards in, and she's always been serious about boxing, and she just loves the sport, loves the fight. So yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, we're definitely glad that you came on. Hope to have you back on in the future, especially after your fight, and to talk about what's going to happen next. Anything you want to say to your fans out there before we close this one out?
I just want to thank each and every one of those people who have obviously, supported me all the way through my career. Especially the fact that, my career's sort of been up and down, and, having that long gap, and they're still there, and obviously the new supporters as well. So appreciate that. And just thanking each and every one of them. And also thanks to you guys for having me on your show.
Absolutely. Hey, have a good one, Susie.
Thanks, you too, guys. Cheers.
All right, guys. This has been a great edition. Shout out to Susie Q and Ramadan and Beeb. Up next will be the roundtable, so make sure you guys tune in for that. Up next on this channel, so tune in for that, and have a good one, everybody. Peace out.
Yes.